Hi everyone, this is Diane. Today is the final episode in the series of a start to finish hardcover journal. So today we are going to do a couple of little things to the cover before I sew the signatures in, and then we're going to sew the signatures in. Yay! We're almost done with it. And then the next video will be a flip through, and the journals will be in the shop. So last night I did sew the signatures into this one, and I didn't have time to sew them into this one, but that'll be done soon. So today we will do this one. Before I sew the signatures in, I want to put an eyelet here so that I can put a cord and beads on it. I was just thinking, I had to pause there because I thought, why didn't I get stuff out? I don't know if I'll have time, but I want to put beads on this, so I don't know if we'll do that on camera. So let's see. I want to put eyelet here, so I want a slightly bigger eyelet like this. I don't know the sizes, but this is a kit that I bought from Amazon, and it came with all of these pieces. I can link this. So these are the tools I need. And I have this metal plate that my husband gave me. It's been used a lot for doing eyelets. So I wish that sets would come with something like that, because you'll pound a hole in whatever surface you're pounding on. So if you have a big shot or a big bite, and you know how to use it, go ahead and use it. I don't have any luck with big shot. I'm sorry, big bite. I should practice with it. But this is what I use, and I like it. And the only thing is, it's noisy. So we're going to use this because I know how to use this one. So the first thing I do is mark the center. I have a centering ruler, so I know it's a 2-inch spine, so I put the 0 in the middle, and I have the 1 on each end there, so I know it's in the middle. And I just put a little mark where I'm going to put my hole. With this kit, this is the piece that makes the hole, and this is the piece that sets the eyelet along with this. So I'm going to put this over the mark. And this didn't come with the set, but I got this with a Making Memories set. So any little hammer. We're going through 2 layers of fabric and a chipboard, so it takes a little bit. And I might cut that part out, the pounding part, depending on how loud it is. So usually the fabric hangs on by a few threads, so I have to snip those off. I've got some cardboard still there too. And then I can select a color that I want to use. I think for this one I'll just use white. And this set has, what is it called? I don't think it's called a washer, but it's something like a washer. It has the same purpose. So I put my eyelet in. I put this through the hole and flip it upside down. Put the washer on. And then use this piece. So this little stem sticking up, when you put the stem through that hole, it just holds everything into place right where you want it. The washer and the eyelet together. and there it is. So I'll be able to thread some cord through that when I'm ready to do that part. Now, I am going to use my Big Bite for this. I want to put a closure on. So this is what I'm doing for this journal. It's really packed, so when I take this off, it's going to pop up because it's really stretched. So I'm just going to add one of these and the hair tie. Where's my Big Bite? I used it last night and it looks like I didn't put it away. Oh, here it is. It's just sitting on the floor. So once again, I'm going to mark the center. And I'm just using the marks on the end. Once they line up the same, then I'll know that the 0 is at the center point. I don't need this. All right, so this is going to be for the knob, and it's, let me show you that. It's a Tim Holtz piece. That's the knob, and then you have the little screw part. So that's as big as the hole needs to be. So I use the smaller setting on my Big Bite for that part, which is 1/8. Yep, okay, that's where I need it to be. And then I can use the ruler again, but I'm just gonna put a mark through the hole. It's quicker. And for the tie, the hair tie to go through, I need it to be the biggest setting. I think it said 3/16. So I'll just take the screw part and put it up through the bottom so that it shows on the top. And then the knob screws right on. And then I have these little hair elastics. These just happen to have stripes on them, which I thought was kind of cool, but I've had them for a long time. Looks like, I don't know, is that a Dollar Tree brand? I don't usually go to dollar stores, so I'm not sure where I got those. And I just put a loop through and insert one loop into the other and pull it. And this will come loose. You know, it'll come loose and you can just put it back on. So right now it's not going to do anything because it doesn't have any paper. It's not big enough. So now we need to add the signatures. So I'm going to make a template. This is my method of sewing signatures in. It may not be anybody else's method, but it's mine. So the spine is 2 inches. So I'm going to cut my piece of paper, just a paper that I can make marks on. So it does have printing on one side, but I need to be able to see marks clearly. So I use paper that's blank on one side. So that's 2 inches. And I want my template to be the same height as the pages, which is 8 3/4. Okay. Now, since I do 3 signatures, I like to do an odd number of signatures so that the center will have a signature in it. It's just easier for me to line them up that way. So if I want to do more than 3, I'll do 5, not 4. I mean, I can do 4, but it's just easier if I have an odd number so that one signature can go right in the center. So I fold it in half and get my center mark. And then I fold one edge in to meet that center fold. This is just a really easy way to have your signature spaced evenly. So if it was 5 signatures, I would have to use a ruler and figure it out. So I started doing 3 signatures, and that's pretty much what I stick with. So I have 3 fold lines. Those are where the 3 signatures will go. And I can easily get the center mark just by folding it up in half. And I'll just take a pen and mark where the lines intersect. I do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm going to use my centering ruler again and mark 5 holes on each line. So my 0 is at the center mark. You don't have to have a centering ruler. You can just figure out how many inches you want in between your holes and use a regular ruler. So I have that it's a 0 right there at the center. It goes up to a little over 4 inches. So I think I'll go up to 4 inches for my sewing. So this is easy too. And it doesn't have to be even. They don't have to all be the same length, the stitches. They should be, whatever is in this one should be the same as the other 2 lines. But if I wanted to make this 1.5 and then 4, I mean, it doesn't matter, you can do that. But I usually space them evenly. Then move the ruler up to the next line. 2 and 4. Some people use grid paper, graph paper, to do this. And then I always mark a T at the top, wherever I want the top to be, so that I have it the same orientation every time I punch holes in a signature. Because I've done it where I flipped it around for one signature and that was slightly off from the others. So it does make a difference. Even though it's marked, it should all be even. But, you know, we are not perfect people. All right, the next thing to do is to punch your holes. So just take your whatever hole punch you have. This is a Tim Holtz Tonic Studios punch. And poke it in the hole, and I wiggle it around so that it's got a big enough hole that you can put your pen point through it. Okay, I think all the holes are punched. I'm going to get a pen that will leave a dark mark. I mean, it doesn't need to be super dark on this fabric, but this will just leave a mark easier than this. You know, I think you have to maybe move that pen a little bit. So I just like to use an ink that just, when you touch it down, you've got a mark. So you can hold this in place and just punch your holes through these holes, but I have too much trouble holding it in place and not shifting it, because I used to do that. But now this template is the same size as the pages, not the spine. So I try to eyeball it so that there's the same amount of space at the top and the bottom. And then I just put my pen through the holes. And I have 3 light marks. They're not super dark. And they will be covered by your signatures. I just shifted it a little bit. Okay. Okay, it looks like all of the holes are there, all the marks are there, I mean. So I'm going to punch holes again. Some people use like a thick telephone book. I don't think a book cradle would work for a spine. That works for a single signature. But I just hold it off the surface and just keep my fingers out of the way. Because I don't have a thick phone book to stick it in. Harder on the end because you want to be able to support that but not have your fingers in the way. Doesn't usually go in that hard. Wow, I don't know why it's having such a hard time here. Okay, I got all the holes in. For sewing it in, we still need this for marking, for putting holes in the signatures. But for sewing it in, I have my little kit here. Waxed thread. And I'm gonna order another set. I have this. It's a little bit thinner than these, so I prefer to use these. I think these are 0.88 millimeters. And I don't know how big this is, but I like this color. This works, it's fine. So I like this for when I don't have the right colors. These are for what I already did this one, but I need one for this color. So I have my threads in this little basket. I just went to Amazon this morning to look for some more because the colors that I use a lot are just about gone. But then I have other colors that I don't use much. I mean, I love this color, but it just doesn't work on most of my signatures. And I'm all out of white, so I think we're going to use this one today. Well, maybe I can use this one, but I don't know if there's enough. Let's see. I use 3 lengths and a little bit extra. So there's one. Let's do that again. I slipped. 1, 2, 3, and then a little extra. If you want to have it dangling below the book and put some charms on it, you need more than that. So let me see if I have 3 pieces this length. We might. Not quite. I'm gonna use that in the middle signature where the envelope is, so I won't have to tie a bow in it. We're gonna go with this. So I'm gonna just thread my needle and have that all ready. I just use a long needle. This is probably thicker than it needs to be, but it's a longer needle with a big hole, big eye, so that this thicker thread can fit through it. Now it's all ready. I also have my poker, some binder clips, scissors, and I often use this to help me pull the needle through all of those thicknesses. Now, the way I work is I fill my pockets as I work so that I know how thick my pages, my signatures are going to be. So I have to take all of those things out. So I just put them in a neat little pile, and then when I'm done, I go backwards because I have the thing from the back of the book on top of the pile. So I go backwards through the book and then refill the pockets. Sometimes I forget what goes where, but you know, it doesn't really matter in the long run. And as I'm going through here, I'm making sure the pages are lined up where I want them. It still has some thread in it from where I took it out of the book. Oops. Okay. So these are small pages, and I want one near the top and one near the bottom. These are clipped in, so I'm just going to leave them. They're not going to move. Okay, that's the center. So I'm going to put a clip on either the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. Just make sure all of the pages are down in the fold. They should already be all lined up because we lined them up going through the first half of it. Okay, now I need the other clip on the other side at the top, since I put this one at the bottom. Okay, now I just kind of feel with my hands if this feels like it's lined up, and it does feel good, and you can see by looking at it too that it's lined up with all the pages down into the fold. Sometimes one might bubble a little bit, like it doesn't feel quite right, so I have to take a clip off and just kind of press it and put the clip on again. Sometimes I have to do it several times on one side or both sides until I feel that it is all lined up the way it's supposed to be. If it's a little bit off, then you might put your hole in the middle, right in the fold here, but it might come out on either side here, and that's going to make your signature wonky. So for this one, I do just hold it in place since I know it has to be in the channel in the fold. So if I slip with it, I know right where it goes. And I check to make sure it is coming out right at the fold. See, I moved it, so I just have to make sure it's in the same place. Always put the point back in when you're done. All right, so I have my needle threaded. I want the knot to be on the inside. Sometimes you can have the knot on the outside of the cover, but I usually put it on the inside. So I'm going to go down into the center hole, down through the center, out the back, and then down into the center hole, the first row. So you have to make sure you know your cover is the right side up. It's already coming out. Because I have sewn a signature in upside down before. And it comes out the back, and let's see how easily it pulls out. It doesn't want to, so I just get my pliers and pull the needle out. I don't always have to use the pliers, but I was using them a lot yesterday. So I leave a nice length so I can tie a bow. So you can do whatever you want. You can tie it in a knot and cut the threads short. You can tie it in a bow. You can tie it in a knot and then attach something to the ends, like even little paper punches of shapes, hearts or whatever. I usually just tie it in a knot or a bow. I used to put little paper pieces on the ends almost all the time. Oh, I'm not talking about what I'm doing. I am so sorry. So we went down into the center signature and the spine. And then you can go up or down, it doesn't matter. But I went up into the very next hole. So down and then up. Now we're going to go down again into the next hole. I'm just going to take this out. Just wants to come out. And as I go, I am pulling to make sure that the threads are pulled tight. Don't pull too hard, because even though it's a thicker waxed cord, you can still break it. I've done it. But pull it snug enough that it's not going to be loose. So now I'm going back down. So I went from the top hole down to the next hole. There's already a thread in that hole from where we came up. So you just want to make sure you're not coming up through a thread. I think I am. Yeah, I was. I kind of split this thread with my needle, and I don't want to do that. So I moved it. Okay, keep pulling it snug. Now we're not going to go into the center hole here. We're going to skip it. Going to go right past it and go into the next hole, going down. And then the very bottom hole, going through the back. Pretty easy. And if you want to practice with a single signature, that's what I did. first journal I made was with a sewn in signature, was a single signature that I could just do one signature and be done. And it did not take long at all to do it. And I was so impressed that it was so easy. And it was very encouraging. So I don't know if you can see this, but I came up for this and it is a little bit off-centered from the hole, from where this thread is. So I'm going to back it out and try that again. I want it to come up right where that other thread is. Okay, now it's in line with that thread. We just have one more hole here, and that's the middle. Now, we have our thread going across. This thread came up on the right side, so I'm going to make it come up on the left side this time. And sometimes I have trouble. All right, I'm just going to let it come up on this side so I can show you what to do if you can't get the needle to come up on the other side, or if it's too challenging for you, because it's not a problem. I just want it on both sides of this thread, so when I tie the knot, it helps secure that thread. So you can just take your needle and slide it under there, pull it through, and now you have the threads on both sides. Tie it in a double knot. And this is where you can either snip it close or tie a bow or attach something to the ends or just let it hang loose. And if that bow comes untied, it's not going to fall apart because I did a double knot underneath it. Take off your clips, and I usually go ahead and fill the pockets right now before I do the next signature, because that I don't want to forget where they go or get the piles mixed up. But if you want to wait till you have all the signatures in, that's probably a better idea. But I don't usually have any trouble with things falling out. I might find a different place for this because it slipped down in there where you couldn't even see it, so you might not even know it's there. So I'll just find a smaller pocket for that somewhere, or I'll just clip it to a page. I missed it. I have this up here? Nope, it doesn't fit. Okay, so I will do the other two signatures just the same way, and then I will come back. I don't think you need to watch all of them going in, and the video would be too long. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. The signatures are all sewn in. It's a fat book. I'm going to put this tie back, hair tie back in. And that will hold it closed. And I need to just put a little something on this pocket here. So I cut this page, this piece from, maybe from this book, I don't know. But I cut it a little too short. So I think I'll add a little washi tape to it. But I cut it and inked around the edge. After I sew the signatures in, I do what I call the final touches. So I just go through, if I have pockets in the center or envelopes in the center that I sewed in, then I glue them closed, which we're going to do one. So I'll show you how that happens, and add fibers or seam binding to tags, make sure the pockets are filled, things like that. I know that won't stick, so I'll put some glue on it. So that's all set, and I'll just put my handmade by and sign it. So I have a stamp that I use, and I'll just stamp a little piece of paper and punch it out and glue it there. Before I do a little flip, I'm not going to actually do the flip through right now. Maybe we'll go through and talk about what final steps I have to do. But I do want to add my cord to the spine. So I double a cord and have it at its doubled length, a little bit longer than the book cover, because some of it will be taken up in knots, and I just want it to be a little longer than the cover anyway. You can make it as long as you want to. I don't know why. I keep pulling on it to make it a little shorter, and it never seems to be shorter. Okay, that's good. So I usually just select 3 colors that go with the cover. So I just have beige, and this matches that spine fabric pretty well. It's aqua blue, but I call the fabric mint. But they look good together, so we're going to use it. And then I have a pink. This is the only pink that I have, so we're going to use that. I'm not going to show you putting the beads on because I paid like $7 or something like that for a tutorial from Johanna Clough. And her channel and shop are now called Johanna Alyssa, for her little tutorial on how she does it. And it's very, very simple, but I'm not going to, share what she charges, So I just have my 3 cords here, putting them through the eyelet. This is why it had to be one of the bigger eyelets. And make a loop, put your threads through it, and pull it tight. Now it's all ready for me to string beads on it. So when I do the final flip through, it'll have the beads on it. I already have the part here for you to write your name, whatever information you want at the beginning of your book. So I'll just flip through, and if I want to add anything extra to anything, I can. If I wanted to, here's where I would add something to that bag, but I'm leaving that empty for you to fill up. if I was inking in a journal, which I'm not in this one, but I would make sure that my cards were inked where I wanted them to be inked. This already has ribbon on it, and I'm not putting anything in those. That one has its seam binding. Okay, here's where I have this envelope. It's just a folded book page, a children's book page that I folded for the envelope part and the flat part. That's all. And I did reinforce both folds because it wanted to crack. So now I've sewn right there. This was the center of the signature, so I've sewn it right in just like that, like a page. But now I'm going to glue the envelope closed. And I may put something in it. I'm not prepared to do that right now, but I'll probably put something in there. But you can put whatever you like in the envelope. Maybe I'll put some of your extra goodies in there. I started putting some packets together with extra goodies. And this wants to pop, so I think I'll put a paper clip on that. If I can see where I put my paper clips. My desk is such a mess after this project with so many different items in it. How about for fun we use one of these Avon paper clips? They're just plastic clips that I got from eBay. That might not be a good idea for this because made it want to pop. So I'll use that for other things. Maybe I'll just put a clip on a page in here. Okay, so I will put a paper clip when I find what I did with them. I moved things out of my way so I could do this video. I know there's at least one tag that needs something in it. So I have some seam binding here. And I'm just going to leave that one plain, just for you to play with. Yep, that's it. That's all I had to do. So I will add my name to the back of that, and I will add the beads. And this will be ready. So the next video will be a flip through of this one and this one. I probably have some final touches to do on this one too. So I'll flip through these two, and then maybe I'll do a separate video of the one I'm keeping. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed this series. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there's anything else you want me to do tutorials on, I won't make any promises, but you can ask me. So that's it. I'm going to get to work finishing these up and get them ready to put in the shop. They'll probably be in the shop tomorrow, the day after you see this video right here, this video. They'll probably be the flip through video, and then they'll be in the shop. So come on back. See you soon. Have a creative day. Bye.